All right, so spoiler alert. The person that everybody thinks should be gone and should have been gone a long time ago, he's still here, and we're going to talk about it. All right, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
This is Conversations with the Crawleys. We do lots of conversations about faith, family, relationships, and we do recaps, reviews, and commentaries on some of our favorite shows. This one is the OG of the shows, Ready to Love in Miami. So if this is content that you enjoy, and I'm pretty sure it is, hit the subscribe. Hit the like, request notifications,
and share.
And we'll see you in the comments. Consider becoming a member and check out that merch store. All right. So we pick up from the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Andre's back.
Yep.
But when we pick it back up, Jeffri and Sue are still beefing. They like Tupac and Biggie going back and forth at each other. Who shot you? Shut up. You the advocate.
Wow.
So... it's not got it.
Oh, monologue.
Morgan says, because a lot of the ladies are like, I'm tired of this, whatever. Morgan's like, nope, I love it.
I'm here for it. Bring it on. But not more against Sue Ann, but against Blake. That's what she said. That's what the girl said.
She said, how can Sue believe that liar Blake? So she's basically saying, I don't trust him, but you naive for believing him. That's what she's saying.
That's what she's saying.
That's what
she's saying a whole lot.
That's what Morgan got a lot to say in this one.
Morgan is saying a whole lot.
Morgan got a lot to say. So Tommy's like, all right, now that everybody got that off their chest, here's what's happening. This is the last supper for some of y'all. Does that make Tommy want to say? I ain't gonna say it, but.
He's just saying that somebody's Judas.
Ooh. Who's the Judas?
Who is the Judas?
Who got the bread passed to them? All right, so Blake goes aside with Sue Ann and it's like, you had such great poise.
You handled it so well.
It made us closer.
Connected.
Just to be close to you.
Oh, wow. You're hitting the little gospel.
Hey.
After the Biggie and the Tupac.
Listen, we versatile on this channel. Y'all know this. I might even see if I can find some old country lyrics or some old rock and roll lyrics. No, I won't do that. All right. So, what's going on? So, Andre and Cynthia are reconnecting because they had a really good connection. She like boohooed when they had their date.
Okay, I wonder if she boohooed when he left.
Then Andre also connects with Jeffri. And she is...
I hope that wasn't too much for you to see me that way.
I didn't handle it with... Well, I can't do this nasally, but I didn't handle it with as much grace as I should have.
He was like, I love you still.
Yeah. He kisses her on the cheek. Now,
consoled her.
Yes. He does say that Jeffri says that they stayed connected while Andre was out.
Andre said that.
Okay.
Andre said
one of them said it about the other. Yep. They stay connected.
And that he felt that was his highest connection based off of her checking in with him because someone else wasn't checking in.
Mercedes. Because Mercedes was like,
you gone, boy. I got 2 other connections. You left the process.
I don't see you, so...
If I don't see you, I don't see you. And when I see you, I'll see you.
If you see me, look for me. If you don't see me, I ain't there. It's basically what she was saying.
She was like, because he was hot and bothered. I'm like,
mad.
He was like, you're my top connection. And why? Why do we need? Because you were no longer in the process. And I wasn't leaving the process for you. So I moved on to my next 2 connections. Well, I'm moving on right now. And he gets up and walks to another table.
It's like, I'm hurt, and this is your character, and I want nothing more to do with you.
Okay. All right. Okay, he may still be lingering. COVID's lingering.
Yeah. Morgan talks with... There's a lot of conversations.
There's a lot of conversations.
So I'm looking down at my notes. Morgan and Anthony, she feels that he wants to be pursued because she's talking, I think, Morgan, Anthony, and Marcia are all talking.
They're sitting at the table.
They're sitting at the table. And Morgan says that she thinks Anthony wants to be pursued by the ladies. And she's like, queens don't pursue.
She's like, queens don't pursue. You want low hanging fruit, and we're up here. And you're going to have to try and put more initiative in if you want to reach for the stars and stay.
That might be why he had that date with Sue Ann later on. All right. So, yeah, that was pretty much them.
He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Because Morgan was like, you talk great on the phone, but then when we are at these events and whatever, you move around, you don't talk to me. So she's like,
that's weird.
I don't know what to do with that. Linda's over there talking about Janique, and they are both talking about how they have connections with people who have connections with other people. In other words, I like him, but he don't like me. He likes somebody else.
And then he's like, yeah, that happened to me too. She's like, that happened to you too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a friendly friend vibe.
Yeah, I didn't get anything romantic out of them. Mm-hmm. Morgan and Tony have a conversation, and she says that he is kind of like Anthony in that he knows how to work the room. In other words, she's saying, look, you flirting a little too much. You are all around, and Anthony is all around, and you haven't made things serious. So Morgan really is feeling Anthony. Feeling Tony. I'm sorry, Tony.
Okay.
She's really feeling Tony.
Okay.
But she brings up basically saying that there's a similarity as far as how Anthony and Tony are moving, in that they both kind of work the room. They both know how to work the room and kind of be flirtatious with everybody, but not really making their true intentions known. Is kind of what I thought she was saying.
Yeah. Tony's like, I ain't nothing like Anthony. That's what he says pretty much. He's like, I'm being myself. I am, he said, I'm being myself.
Right.
And that's just how I work.
Yeah. But
and she's like, no, you don't have to stop that.
She's like, cut out all that friendliness, cut all that flirtations. Cut it all out.
Cut it out now. Cut it out. Do it. I want you to sit here and look into my eyes. You have no choice to do anything else. So I'm like, to me, it's getting beyond a little bit of flirtation. She's scaring me.
Morgan giving them I bust the windows out your car type of vibes.
I was like, okay. And he's kind of like laughing at, it could be funny a couple times, but after a while I'll be like, you need to calm down.
But when you come out and her name is scratched in your car, then you'll know. Because she does say that he gonna make her hurt him.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna grab, because he was like something about, I wasn't licking my lips. Oh, so you were licking your lips? I'm gonna grab them lips off of you. So I don't know if that's her Caribbean side or not.
The flirtation.
It's getting
Here's
a little
the
bit
thing.
too much.
She is in defense of her. She is at least making her wishes known, right? Is she could it be perceived as being a little too aggressive? Possibly, right?
Yeah.
But if that works for him and that works in their relationship, cool. But she at least is not.
But she doesn't do that with London.
Well, I don't think she's willing to take the back seat. I think her main attraction is to Tony. So she's making it known she's not willing to take the back seat and say, okay, you got to choose me before I let you know that I want to choose you. I think she's being very upfront and very forward with Tony.
Okay.
So, and they do kiss. So
yeah, he's like, bring them lips here. Come here. I can tell you what to do too. Come here. Bring me those lips.
Yeah. So Tommy pulls the guys aside. He pulls the ladies aside, and he's like, okay, who are we feeling? So a lot of people are feeling Jeffri.
Interesting.
Andre, Blue, and MarkAnthony all mention Jeffri.
Those are the same people, though.
Same people, right. Tony, we know, is with Morgan and Marcia. He says Marcia is kind of his close second. Anthony is feeling Cynthia and Mercedes. And Blake only has Sue Ann because nobody else is feeling Blake.
Nope.
On the ladies' side, now that Andre's back, that throws some things into it. So Cynthia's like, look, he came back. He shot up to number one.
She said that space was always still open.
Right, because I think they still connected afterwards, right?
Yes.
But then Jeffri says that Andre is back on top.
I don't understand that. He just came back an hour ago, and she was in a fog. Remember? She was like, didn't know what
her brain went blank.
Her brain went blank. Oh my God! I'm like, I would have thought she was going to say MarkAnthony. That would have made more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, how in the world? Within an hour after he pulls you in close, now you're just taken away by him and his S-curl.
Okay. Who else there? We all know Sue-Ann, of course, is only feeling Blake. Morgan says Tony and Lyndon, but she does say that the age difference with her and Lyndon is part of the issue too, or part of the concern that she has.
She feels like they could make it work.
Right. But again, that helps to explain why most of her attention and focus and intentionality is on Tony as opposed to Lyndon.
Well, but if you think about it, if she wants to have children, Lyndon's younger. I don't know if he has any children.
Well, he could have children. He could, listen, Abraham had children at 195.
Wow. Really?
That's your Bible lesson for the day.
Wow. Would Abraham in this day be having kids at 95?
I'm just saying it's possible.
I'm just saying a lot of times does Tony have kids?
I can't remember.
Can't remember if Tony has kids. Tell us in the comments if Tony has kids. But I'm just saying if Tony already has children that are older and London doesn't have any, he may be more willing to have kids.
True. But that doesn't seem to be an issue because we all know that Blake has an issue with Morgan and having kids and that whole thing.
But no one else is.
Right. So Marcia is only feeling Tony as far as what she said, or as far as what we heard, right? Mm-hmm. As far as the least, Blake and MarkAnthony.
I know, we're just having a hard time tonight.
Listen, all these double and triple names. Blake and MarkAnthony are essentially the top two that they're saying are really bottom two. Morgan says again that Anthony was her top, not MarkAnthony, but Anthony.
Anthony. Ooh, Jesus. Heal.
Exactly. So Morgan is saying that Anthony was her top after the mixer, and she didn't want to mention that to Tommy, but he ain't been calling, he ain't been emailing, he ain't been texting, he ain't been sending smoke signals, nothing.
It's over.
And then Sue and Marcia also put Anthony in the bottom. Okay. Sue-Ann comes up a lot on the guy's side as being in the bottom from Anthony, Blue, and Andre. Blake says that Morgan and Jeffri are kind of in his bottom ones right now.
Not a surprise.
Not a surprise. Andre says that Mercedes is his bottom because she wasn't checking for him while he was gone.
She just wasn't interested.
MarkAnthony, Blake, and Anthony all mentioned Janique as kind of their bottom one. Tony does kind of stick up and say, hey, she was pretty cool. She's unique. She's amazing. And she kind of threw a wrench in the game for him, although he didn't mention her as far as what we saw in his top. So he's kind of like, she'd be cool, but I got too much on my plate right now. Exactly. So long story short, Anthony and MarkAnthony are told to step forward. MarkAnthony does get saved by the second chance. So the lady said, we're going to use the second chance.
Yeah, we'll save you.
Twist, curveball that Tommy had in this season. Morgan, is like, she is livid.
Yep. I was like, what? What happened? Why are you mad?
And she's like, why is Blake still here? Why is he here?
He should be executed by now.
And that's why she's mad. She's not necessarily mad that they used the lifeline. She's mad that they had to use it and that Blake is still there.
And they should have gotten rid of Blake.
They should have just gotten rid of Blake. Then they wouldn't have had to use it. That's what she's saying. On the ladies' side, Janique and Sue-Ann are slated to potentially be, they're in the bottom two, basically. Long story short, Janique is sent home. That's not ready for love.
Not use the lifeline.
No, they were like, baby girl, appreciate you, but your time's up. And she's like, I'm ready. There wasn't no guys here for me to be ready to love.
Because she did seem very intentional. She knew what she wanted. And I think she'll find him.
Yep. And then Tommy says, look, that whole second chance opportunity curveball,
it's gone.
It's out the door. It's a wrap.
Yeah, man, y'all took too long and y'all didn't use it anyway, so I'm taking it back.
And MarkAnthony's like, dude, because he wanted them to use it on Carvaya a couple of weeks ago. But, oh well.
They kept saying, we might have to use it later. We may have to use it later.
He was like, I told y'all.
Now I can't use it at all.
Now ain't nobody getting a second chance. Even though he lives by the second chance right now. He lives
by second chance.
All right, so now we're back to some dates, and Tommy is like, okay, just do some reconnections, figure out what's going on, make sure that things are working the way they need to go. So Sue Ann shows up at Anthony's house. Mm-hmm. Nice little house. Mm-hmm. She says she feels that they have a connection. Mm-hmm. He says he took some notes from the dinner interactions. Mm-hmm. And he gives her flowers. They make a salad together. She feels like she's being tested. Like she gonna be cut if she can't make this salad right.
I don't know. I mean, being domestic, he just wanted, I don't know. At this point, you have the whole meal done. Just go ahead and put the salad together. I can put my own croutons on, salt and pepper.
Bro, you just pulled it out the bag. You had one of them ready-made bags that you got to just stir up and get the dressing in there. And it's a elegant salad that you just pulled out the bag out the veggie section.
If you're going to go, just do it all.
It's not like he was cutting up lettuce.
Right, or she had to cut up like come over, we'll fix dinner together, right, and then we'll eat.
So she does ask if she is on his list.
And as time ticks, he finally says,
I'm sorry, I was giving his answer right there.
That's what I was saying. As time ticks.
He had no answer, basically.
Then he goes, yes, I'll let the cat out of the bag.
You on my list. Silence in heaven for the space of about 30 minutes.
And she's like, what? I would have done a little different.
What would you have done?
Looked him dead in his face. Like, this is where you say more.
Right.
So I'm listening. But she kept eating. Now I'm like, I'm gonna look you right in your face like you're talking to me. You're like, why are you short for words?
Yeah, so I don't know if that's just his personality where he's more of he comes off more of an introvert.
He comes up an introvert for me as well. And this might not be like normal for him, dating multiple people, trying to get to know so many people at one time. He seems like a very nice guy.
Yeah.
So I think if he was a little bit more assertive, as the ladies mentioned, and that he knows how to indicate his feelings without feeling like he's overcommitting to anyone.
Yeah, because he doesn't come off as like, let's say, a type A personality.
Yes.
So she is curious about his seduction / sexual language.
I don't get that. I think he just knows how to dance. But that doesn't mean for you to take it to the point where he's being overly overt with anything.
Right.
So
and they do dance.
He's like, well, let me dance.
Which
go back to my go-to.
It just looked awkward. It just looked awkward.
It's like, that's not how that works.
Did they even play the music? Because
I didn't hear anything.
They didn't have no clearance for that. So.
He said, I didn't hear clearance. He's like, we can't use any previous.
We can't use that. Nope. Okay. Turn off the Keith Sweat. We can't use that. No Jasmine Sullivan. Nope. Can't use that either. So y'all just gonna dance in silence. We'll hum over here while y'all dance. That's what was happening. On the other side of town, MarkAnthony goes on a date with Jeffri. And they just go back and forth complimenting each other, really. She's like, I feel like I have to be strong all the time. He's like, well, I'll be the strong one. You can be the soft one. And then she does mention that she has Crohn's disease.
Yeah, she has Crohn's disease. So, again, she decides to open up to him.
And he has no idea what that is. He's like, oh my God, what is it?
Can I Google it? I'm going to go to the bathroom, come back.
What is it?
Crohn's disease. So, so she kind of shares a little bit. I was like, just keep living, just keep living. If you watch enough commercials, that Crohn's disease
that pops up like at least twice a show.
Like they give you the whole stomach and the whole lining, the whole thing about Crohn's disease.
Right.
I think I could recommend some medicine to her for Crohn's disease. So, but now MarkAnthony is the strong connection again. If this is what she said, right?
This moment, yes.
At this moment, he's the strongest connection again. Yes. So I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. It changes at the wind, her connections. Yes. And so, he's looking at her all deep in her eyes and stuff. And there's, she's sharing what's going on with her and everything. So they have a good day. But at the same time, I'm like, stay steady.
Yeah. So one of you all wrote in the comment from last week, I think it was VJ from Around the Way, said, Jeffri is giving thirsty. Why is she cleaving to MarkAnthony? He is clearly not interested in 3 kids. She's running out of options. Andre is back, but he is checking for Cynthia. Pretty much accurate there. But yeah, I that's the other thing I think that is a piece to play in here is MarkAnthony and the fact that Jeffri does have 3 children. And if he is, I think it's just a matter of if he's at the stage of his life where he's ready to take on that.
Because like she indicated, having Crohn's disease, sometimes she is in the bed sick. So it's like telling you, are you going to take care of my kids while I'm, in the bed? If they have this long-term relationship, right?
Right.
And have to depend on him for something. Yeah. Not that she needs to.
Right.
But I think if you're saying...
that becomes part of it. The more the relationship grows and develops, that does become part of it.
That comes a part of it. Especially if you decide that you want to get married. Because this is not a disease that just goes away with medicine. No. So he would be responsible if they do decide to get married and she's down for a couple of days and can't take care of the kids. It's on him.
Yep. So then MarkAnthony leaves that date and he goes on a date now with Mercedes.
And he all up in her face.
Yeah.
And they're talking and giggling.
And he giving the sexual innuendos.
Yeah, girl,
he's
keep
like,
rubbing.
You keep touching, something gonna get a rise, and it ain't called Jack in the Box.
Okay. She's like, you. And she's kiki. And they kiki in, boy. And they kiss.
Not once.
They kiss.
Not twice. They kiss about three times or so, yeah.
They're sucking lips. And looking like a couple.
And in all honesty, we were watching and I was thinking they look like a better match.
Yes, I was just the energy and I think they're at the same point. They both don't have children at this point. Yep. And the way they walked out, I look at how people walk out, not how they come in.
Right. How
they leave. And they were leaving holding his arm was on her waist and around his neck. They look booed up.
They look booed up more than, because the energy when he walks out with Jeffri before in the previous times, it was a different energy. It wasn't the booed up energy that I get from him and Mercedes. So that's just my thoughts. She says she's worried that she might actually like him.
Oh, she like him.
Yeah.
It's
a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Morgan and Tony have another date. They've been having them have lots of dates together.
They got a lot of dates.
I don't know what. Tony must be slipping producer some money.
Must be something.
Because y'all know, we sometimes, by this time, we get some of the random dates. So, but he's had at least 3, maybe 4 dates with her.
3 or 4 dates with her.
So,
and again, they're trying to solidify who's in their top spots.
He says that Morgan is putting the pressure on him. And she says he's a wild card, that she likes him, but he's also terrifying just because he's flirtatious.
And she's like, you want me to pick you and then you don't pick me?
And you smooth Tony from the top.
We're gonna have problems, Tony. So you better pick right.
Mm-hmm. He had, or somehow Lyndon comes up and she's like, the thing she likes about Lyndon is that Lyndon does not back down from Tony. In other words, Lyndon ain't like, oh, I see y'all connected, I'm gonna back away.
He's like, nope.
He's like, I'm gonna go for it. But Tony's like, I ain't worried about that little boy.
And I want to make sure Tony is pursuing in the right way. Mm-hmm. Like, I just don't want to win.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Now, if he says, you know, it's just the connection we're going to be it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're like, oh, he ain't going to get this because you're going to get it.
Right.
I think you just need to be careful with your words there.
True.
So.
And Morgan's like, yeah, because Tony's like, okay, so, you know, you want to know about my connection? She's like, no. I don't care. Mm-mm. She's like, fix it, clean it up, get it taken care of. And if this is what you want, this is what you come get. Mm-hmm. But clean it up. And basically, she says that they've gained clarity at the end of this. They kiss. But he says it's still tough choosing between Marcia and Morgan. Because
I get her being assertive, as you said. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, if that's in the back of his head, that Marcia is just more chill and allowing the process be the process.
Right.
Because I know there's a way you can let people know, like, look, I'm feeling you.
Exactly.
I really appreciate you, but guess what? You're going to have to make that decision.
Because, yeah, I mean, I like Marcia. It would be great if she would find that connection, but I'm afraid that she's not going to find the connection.
You're right. You know, I'm not saying that Tony is the best connection for her. Mm-mm. You know, out of the guys that were there, I didn't really, like you said, I didn't see any sparks. And those that were provided.
I think Morgan and Tony are the better connection because of their personalities and how they operate. Mm-hmm. Marcia, there was a glint or a hint of Marcia having a good connection with Tony, but I don't know that long term and long run if Tony would be good for Marcia. Just my thoughts, my opinion.
Gotcha.
So then, listen, y'all. Blake and Morgan meet up. And
get ready to rumble.
Okay. Because basically, Morgan said that Blake wanted to have a conversation with Morgan to kind of clear things up, see what the animosity and things were.
Right.
Could have left that well alone, brother.
Just leave it alone.
Well enough alone. All right. But she recaps how she was feeling. Mm-hmm. He apologizes for making her, hurting her, making her feel the way she felt. And then he's like, okay, but what did I do? And she's like, well, how are you going to apologize for something and not know why you apologizing? And then he's like, well, because I hurt you. Whoa, you didn't hurt me. I just let you know that I don't like you. I let you know that you were mean, that you were, you said unkind things, but you ain't hurt me.
I'm not waking up in the middle of the night feeling any pain over you, Blake. Just so you know. And he like, okay. So he assumes too much.
Yes.
And so she's correcting him. Mm-hmm. And I think you should lead with that. It's like, okay, I heard what you said on dinner. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me what exactly it was? So I want to make sure I understand and learn from it. That's it.
Part of it had to do with the fact of something about having kids, right? He has 3 kids. Yeah. She wants kids. She doesn't have any kids. So off the top, that really wasn't going to be a good match anyway. No. Right? Because he's done having kids.
Right. That's all he had to say. He's like, oh, well, that's great
and
for you.
And move around.
That you want to have kids, that's just not what I'm looking for at this time in my life. And she's like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
Who hurt you? Someone scarred you. It might be all the 3 baby mamas you have. I was like, wow. Well, okay. We're just going that way.
Then she says, you're a cancer.
Yes.
Not the sign cancer.
Yes.
You are a cancer, not a benign cancer. You are a malignant cancer.
That means you're continually growing. Well.
She's like, you don't belong here.
Yes. She made it very clear. She's like, I don't want to see you no more. I was like, well, we're going to be in the same company, sis. You're going to see my face. Now, if you don't want to talk to me, that's good. Keep it moving. You know, granted, you just don't care for the man.
Right.
And do what you do just to avoid him. You don't have to, be his friend or anything like that.
Right.
Be cordial and just move on.
Move along.
So she left. She was like, deuces.
Yeah, because she was like, you're a fraud. You don't belong here.
Yeah.
I don't want you for the ladies because I think you're
a liar.
She says I think she was the one that said he's just using Sue-Ann for the votes to stay there, which
he doesn't have any votes. No one else voted for Blake.
Which again is why I believe that Blake is still there. Not because he's being saved by Sue-Ann, he's being saved by production. Because MarkAnthony had more connections, as well as Anthony had more connections, and they were bottom two. The only connection Blake has is Sue-Ann. Because all the other ladies are essentially done with him, as far as what we can see. So the fact that Blake's still there tells me, at least to me, it seems to indicate that production is keeping Blake around for whatever reason.
Right.
So... that's it for this one. Next week, I forget who. We don't know who's in control.
No, because he didn't say.
So, but we'll see. And let us know what your thoughts are. Definitely hit us up in the comments. Let us know what we might have missed. And if you agree with us on some of the things we said, especially as it relates to like Blake and Jeffri and the MarkAnthony situation. So we'll talk to you all later. Have a great one. See you next time. Be blessed.
Bye.